All right, here with Tim Pettorini, ABCA Hall of Famer this year, 38 seasons at the College of Wooster, 1234 wins with a 729 winning percentage and 19 conference titles. So, Tim, thanks for jumping on with me.
My pleasure.
Is the state of Ohio the cradle of Division III baseball?
There's some great baseball in Ohio. It started a long time ago, and I think it's in real good hands right now. Those guys, they get after it and work hard. We didn't have to go far to look for good competition, that's for sure.
I'm wondering if Coach Harrison can make it 4 for 4 here with World Series. He's been rolling.
Yeah, Brian's really a good coach, and he's got a great situation at BW. Very supportive, and that's what it takes. You got to have the support, and he's in a great community to do it. And that's he got players, and and I think he's using the grad transfer to his advantage. And I've watched his teams play, and he's playing with some men.
Yeah, they are really physical. That's the thing that always stuck out to me the last couple of years when I've seen them is they are extremely physical, but they also work at it in the weight room too.
Absolutely, and and that's the secret. You got to in this day and age, bigger, stronger, faster.
Yep.
You got to do that, and that was one of the things we always stressed with our guys. We always felt like when we get on the field, we want to be the biggest, most physical team. Our ballpark in Wooster was not the biggest yard, and so we we hit a lot of home runs in it, and that's where the physicality comes in.
Yeah, but I think more coaches need to do that. If that's your ballpark and you're going to play a majority of your games at home, a little different. Some of the places I coached at because you're going to be on the road more than you're going to be at home. But if you're going to play more home games and that's what your park plays to, then you've got to recruit guys that play to that ballpark.
Absolutely, and that's what we really tried to do, and we made that a point of emphasis with the young men we were recruiting to, get them in the ballpark, show them, and say, hey, listen, I'd throw up grass and say, see that wind blowing out? And there's a reason we have the national record for home runs. Be a part of that.
And then with the pitching staff, then you're trying to get guys to keep the ball down, then correct?
Yeah, keep it in the ballpark. Give us a chance. Keep them under 6, and we got a shot.
Love it. Are you excited the Division III World Series is going back to Ohio?
I'm really excited. That's been in the works for quite some time, and I was involved in that a little bit with our conference, and we tried earlier. Oh gosh, must have been 15, 20 years ago to get it to come to Ohio. And it's finally going to be there, and the College World Series is such a great opportunity for fans to see college baseball at its highest. But for the players and teams and schools, it's a really great opportunity, and to have it in Ohio. Hopefully, it doesn't snow anything. You never know in May what can happen, but hopefully we'll get a good week of weather.
Memorial Day, we're good. Hopefully by Memorial Day, we're okay. You've spoken quite a bit on the clinic circuit. What have you enjoyed about doing that?
Oh, it's the interaction with the coaches. That's the biggest thing. And I enjoyed, the speaking aspect of it and sharing ideas. And, that's really what it's all about. I said in my convention speech, I wasn't smartest or anything, but I was a really good thief. I stole from a lot of really good coaches, and I take my staff to watch different coaches practice, and go to conventions, go listen to people, talk to people, and that was the key. I mean, you hear something, see something, say, wow, that's a pretty good idea. Maybe I can incorporate some of that into my program. And, so that was the biggest thing, getting a chance to speak and share with others and, tell them about the Worcester way of doing things.
For a young coach that has not had to do that, give them some tips on speaking for the first time at either state clinic, national clinic. Just give them some tips.
It's a little nerve-wracking, as the first several times you do it, it's challenging to say the least, to make sure you're organized and you got to practice. That's the biggest thing. I was so worried at the convention. Everybody kept saying, "Oh, you got to be 6 to 8 minutes, 6 to 8 minutes." And I think the second speaker got up there and he went for 20. I was like, "Oh man, I've been shaving this thing down for." And I rehearsed it enough times. I was right at that 8 minute threshold. I said, "Well, maybe I can add a few more things as we're going." But
that's not the time to do it. I will tell anybody that if you have it planned and you got it planned out, the last second is not the time to change anything.
That's for sure. Afterwards,
goes
my wife
really bad.
Yeah, that's my wife said. Well, you should have mentioned so and so or this, and I said, well, I had the talk down, and I really wanted to stick to it, so I didn't have to stare at my notes too often. But that's the key. I think anytime you're, speaking to your team, preparation, speaking at a clinic, preparation. And
camps too. I think that's what helps. If you're a young coach just trying to get into this thing, if you can work a ton of camps and you have to present to kids and clarify what you're doing, I think that's that next step for you. If you've done a lot of clinics or camps and you've been able to present in front of kids, then take the next step and try to clarify. I really like doing it because I think it forces you to figure out what's really important and what maybe you need to leave out, and it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. I was real fortunate early in my career, and I had a dear friend in Western Pennsylvania who ran camps, and he would have me and Bob Morgan in to run his camps. And I'm sure you know Bob. It was we went hard and for the week we were there, but you really got to interact with the kids and again, just sharpen your presentation and what you're doing and, reaffirm in your own mind how you want to go about things.
Yeah, if you want to see who can coach a little bit, go work camp with them. I mean, that was the thing I always enjoyed about working the million camps that I worked is getting around other coaches. You can figure out, hey, who can actually coach, but also who wants to work too.
Yeah, absolutely. And and it's so much fun, especially, if you get to do it in the summertime when the weather's good and you're outside and you're going, it just really works. I'm sure you've done it a million times, 10, 15 years. I'm getting ready to go 2 years ago to get knee surgery. I've got to have a meniscus repaired. And the doctor who was our team doctor at Wooster, he couldn't do it. He had to have back surgery. So he said, you're going to love we got a new young surgeon in the office. He'll take great care of you. So I went to meet him, and he said, Coach, you don't remember me, but I was in your camp back when I said, well, I hope you're a better surgeon than you were a baseball player, or I'm going to be limping. And the contacts is unbelievable.
Yeah, you don't realize it until later on, and people start to pop up that are older, and you don't realize the type of impact, especially in the youth camp setting, that you have on kids. I still work youth camps here in North Carolina. I'm getting ready to go do that tonight. I'll go throw BP to 8 to 12-year-olds for 2 hours tonight for Scott Bankhead. But I do really like doing it because you don't realize the type of impact you have on kids until they get older.
Yeah, and that's and then truthfully, that's the ones you really, the keeping the game going and keeping young people involved. There's so many other, and the more they can be involved in athletics, the more they can be involved in baseball, the better off they're all going to be, and the better off we're going to be for sharing it with them.
Who impacted you the most getting into coaching?
Oh wow, I had a lot of I was really fortunate. In high school, I played for great coach Ron Golden down in Columbus, Ohio, and Ron had a big impact on. Really, he's the one who, got me exposure and went to Bowling Green. And Dick Young was the first head coach there. He recruited me to Bowling Green, and Dick was, as fine a person as you'd ever want to. Just an unbelievable human being, and really opened my eyes to. There was a lot more to the world than just baseball, but and then Don Purvis came in to Bowling Green, and Don was still a very dear friend, and I called Coach Purvis to this day to talk to him, bounce things off to him, also check, make sure he's doing okay. But those guys had great impact. And then once I got into the coaching part, did the whole routine. I got Ron Polk's books and went to conventions and listened to Gordy Gillespie, and just so many opportunities to talk and share with people. And so there's so many people impacted how I did it. Like I said, went watched Danny Hall's practice. Danny was a great coach. Bob Todd at Ohio State, went down to watch him. My son played for Bob at Ohio State. So there's just a lot of people in contact with and got a chance to watch over the years.
Did it help you coach in high school first before you transitioned to Wooster?
Yeah, I think it did. I really wasn't ready, right off the bat, and I was actually assistant at the college, or it was Fremont Ross High School, and got to watch there for a couple of years. And when you go start your career in high school, I was coaching 3 sports, and working on getting a master's and all those things. You're kind of chasing your tail most of the time. But got to coach at the high school level and for several years, and to this day, I still have great contacts with those young guys. I had a couple of them that were at the Hall of Fame induction, and got to share time with them and share a couple beverages with them over the course of the years, and it really did help, get me prepared to go on to coach in college, and that was a big part of it.
Well, I think you've got to overload your schedule as a young coach so you figure out your time management skills. I think the more you can do, the better at an early age, because it forces you to be good with your time management.
Yeah, I totally agree, and and how it is as a young coach. You do have so many things going on, and sometimes the preparation for my health class probably wasn't as good because I was too worried about baseball practice. But those are things you have to learn to balance. And like you said, time management is so important. That's one of the things I talk about at a lot of clinics. It's early. The football coaches I worked with. I was a football coach for a number of years, and football coaches, are to the minute detail, and really, those they're all crazy, but they're they're super organized, and it really, learning that at an early age. I mean, I structured my practices along the lines of how a football coach would. We had this time for individual, this time for group, team time. All of those factors went into practice schedule. And, I think that really helped me.
Did you have to make many adjustments then with the coaching when you switched to the college side?
Yeah, you do. Especially at a school like Worcester, academics are such a, major part of it that, you'd always have kids coming up late to practice because they had a late lab or, had to meet with a professor or whatever. And so you're always making adjustments as you go. But, again, I just think it helps you. You realize that there's things that everybody's got to get done. Everything, has to, fit in. And sometimes so you stay a little bit later. You go a little bit earlier, whatever the day warrants, you gotta work around that schedule and make it happen.
And that's part of having good kids too, because I mean that's part of it. Best season I ever had, I missed 2 days a week of practice in the fall. My season,
really?
I was an All-American. But I had to put a lot of extra work in. But it just shows, like, if somebody, even your kids, if your kids can manage their time and still get their work in, it's, I think sometimes fall ball gets overinflated on what you do and what you can't do. Because if you have a kid that's motivated, even if they're missing, they're still going to be fine.
Exactly. We used to say it all the time, especially again, going back to Ohio, we were fortunate enough to get outside. It was probably going to be 35 degrees out, and we were on the football field or something to try and, get some time in. But the thing we'd always gauge is when practice was over, how many kids stayed extra. to do their work, to get extra swings in the cage, to get some ground balls. Kids coming up saying, hey, to one of the assistant coaches or to me or whoever, saying, hey, coach, can you hit me a few extra ground balls? Can you do this one? How about throwing a little bit? Let's go down to the cage. I really want to work on something. And, and that's, that's what you have to do. That's how you get to where you want to be, is have that work ethic and have the kids who've bought into that. And, then you got a chance.
With 19 conference titles, a ton of conference titles, how'd you build consistency within the program?
Well, the standards were always high. We didn't want to settle for less. When we did our goals early, that was always, top of the list to win the conference. And, and we're fortunate once that started going, we never recruited a kid, came to Wooster and spent 4 years there who wasn't involved in the conference championship. And, so that became a big sales pitch for us right out of the chute with young kids. And, if you come here, you're going to play for conference, you're going to win conference championships, which automatically is going to get you into postseason and give you a chance to do all the other things on that list of goals that we're going to have written up, so that, we can have a chance of achieving those things. And that's how you want to approach it. But, I was fortunate. Great assistant coaches along the way. Those guys were so loyal and dedicated. And, Division III level, fortunate to have one assistant coach who's getting paid. So, a lot of volunteers. One time on my staff, I had a coach from the Ohio High School Hall who's in the Ohio High School Hall of Fame. And he drove 40 minutes every day to get to Wooster to coach with us. And, another coach who never made a penny was with me for 17 years at Wooster. And then I had, 3 other coaches on my staff who had been head coaches in college. So, getting the right people in place really, really helped along those ways.
Did you have core values for the players for the program?
Well, we did. We wanted them to, be true to themselves first and foremost. Their family was primary. We used to say, tell kids recruiting them, baseball's going to be important to you, but your family's first, your schoolwork's second. I don't have a problem being third. That works. I just don't want to be fifth or sixth. if I'm beyond third, we're going to have a problem. But being third works out pretty good. But and we, I think that really gave us great family ties with our program. I'm out in Arizona watching my grandson play right now, and last couple nights at the ballpark, we've had parents of one of our Wooster players who happens to be, they winter in Arizona, and they were at the ballpark. They called and said, "Hey, coach, we're coming over to watch your grandson play." And
who's he playing with?
The ball.
He's
with Ohio State.
He's with Ohio State. Awesome.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, they open a series tonight with Arizona State. Should be fun. They got 4 games.
That's right.
With
They're
Arizona
playing Grand Canyon this weekend, aren't they?
They played them on Tuesday. Grand Canyon is really good.
Yeah.
Boy, they swing it.
Yeah, they've had a good Grand Canyon's had a good run here with their program. They've done a really good job. Hey, I was going to ask you, did Division I teams stop scheduling you after you beat them?
I loved making those phone calls to people and saying, hey, we'd really love to come play. It'd be a great opportunity. And, and I didn't get a lot of callbacks after we got going there for a while. And
those are my scariest games, and being in the upper Midwest, you had to schedule non-division ones to get home games. And those are always my scariest games that we played all year, because you knew if you didn't show up to play, you're going to get beat.
Yeah, exactly. I remember we had 2 years games with Ohio State, and the reason they scheduled us in the first place because my youngest son Terry was playing down there. So Bob was a dear friend. He called and said, "Hey, you guys want to come down and play? It'd be a great opportunity." I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to Terry played third base, so I got to talk to him during the game. You miss so much as a coach. Missed our high school games. Didn't get to go. My wife was she was the one person wolf pack going to all those games all over the country, traveling. But it's kind of neat when you get that opportunity to go and spend some time with them and coach against them. And in fact, we beat him the one year was pretty nice too. That made it. But Bob said to me, he said, "I caught more grief losing that one ball game to you than Minnesota beating me in here." So
Now you just have the two boys?
yes, two boys. My oldest son Tim, he played for me at Wooster. He's the one with the three children.
Yep.
Our grandkids. That's what we do right now. We're chasing grandkids all over the place, and me and Rhoda spend a lot of time in Florida. But we still have the house in Worcester, and that's where our grandkids live in Worcester, and we go back. Today's a big day for the Pettorinis. My granddaughter Tori has probably her final high school basketball game tonight. They play in the tournament. They're up against a tough team. They probably won't win that game. And then we're out here tonight to watch my grandson Tyler play. So big night. And then we've got the 10-year-old. He's the phenom. Tanner's going to be the one. He's switch hitting already and doing a lot of stuff. So it's fun.
How did you know it was time to step away?
Well, I've done it for a long time. And, truthfully, it just seemed like it was the right time. Felt like we'd accomplished what we'd want to accomplish for the most part. And, there was other things going on in our life that we thought, hey, it's time to, spend more time on us. And, better than anybody that coaching's all consuming. There's no off season. There's no downtime. You're always involved with something, whether it's recruiting or, trying to take care of a kid or going to a wedding and we just figured, hey, it's time. Thank God my wife, had a tremendously successful career as a financial person and, made a lot of money so that we could get a home in Florida. And we definitely didn't do it on the coach's salary. But so we had the wherewithal to do it and go and figure, hey, let's spend some time together and really, enjoy the time we have.
And I mean, 2019 wasn't that long ago, so you saw a huge shift in college baseball on the just the excitement about college baseball, how good college baseball got. What were some of your biggest things that stuck out about the changes in college baseball over the course of your career?
Wow, again, following my grandson around, getting to go to all the Division I stadiums. Boy, the money people are pouring into stadiums, and and even at the Division III level, everybody's up north is playing on turf now, and and that's a huge factor. The game has really gotten to the point where it's well coached, it's well played. The competition level is really, really high, and you can. I'm a baseball junkie. I love to go watch games, whether it's high school games, whatever, and watching the skill level, the amount of winter indoor facilities that people have, and kids are really working at it, trying to become better all the time. And I think it's showing. The baseball to college levels improved dramatically, and and I think even at the high school level, players are getting better. Kids are bigger, stronger. They're in the weight rooms, they're throwing harder, they're hitting it farther, faster. It's a great time for baseball right now.
I think that's the biggest adjustment over the course of the years is the amount of facilities and options that kids have in the off season to improve, whether that's in the weight room or on their skills. I think that's the biggest adjustment that baseball's made as a whole is the off season training's gotten so much better for kids.
Yeah, it really has. And, I think if a parent really does their homework, because there's a lot of people will have you doing some things that maybe aren't. There's a lot of bad coaches out there too, but
That's in
there's
anything.
some.
There's good and bad in every profession. It's not just baseball. There's good and bad in every profession.
Well said. But if you do your homework and you can get your young son, daughter in front of some good coaches, that really helps. And I think it takes a lot of the pressure off the parent having to try and do all the coaching themselves, especially at an early age. They can get their youngster in front of somebody, and the kids are always more receptive. They get to listen more. They get to see more. And like I said, with the facilities and it really does help enhance their ability to be better at the game.
Do you feel like Division III was the best fit for you? Because it is really a great blend of academics and athletics at Division III.
Yeah, it was, and that we were kind of the perfect storm. I think we got to go to Wooster and had some success there, and had other opportunities that came up and got some offers and thought, geez, this is really, we live in a great city. Worcester's just a great city to raise a family in. We had a great school. They're super supportive. This is really what we want to do, and the Division III model really worked for us and gave us an opportunity to get the type of kids that would really buy in. We had some phenomenal young players and unbelievable smart kids. I've had many kids who I said to them, geez, if I ever go down with the big one, I hope, because they were pre-med, I said, I hope I wake up and look up and you're, because I know how smart you are. You'll take good care of the old guy and get me through, because they were going to go out and be great doctors or whatever they were going to do.
You're an outfielder at Bowling Green. Did you stay coaching outfielders once you took over a program, or did you hand that off to somebody else?
Yeah, when you start in high school, you're coaching everybody, and so you do that. But once you got going, I spent a lot of time with the hitters, and that was really pitchers gave me a headache, so I was always fortunate and had some great pitching coaches. Barry Craddock, was with me for a long, long time, and Barry's a phenomenal pitching coach, and he's a great coach overall. And had Jeff Bricker working with me for a long time, and those guys really handled it. So I had no worries, about knowing how hard they were going to work those young guys, and they had the expertise. We'd we'd self clinic so many times. So I knew what I wanted them to teach and how they were going to go about doing it. So it really let me focus more. And if we had the staff to take the outfielders, I would do that. If not, then you coach them up and get out there with them and do it. And that's how we approached it. But my big focus was on the hitters.
I think that's
I
think that's what the best ones do. They fill in as needed.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, and that's the thing. And and again, it goes back to preparation and spending time at camps and doing different things. I talked to a lot of camps and clinics about pitching, and little did the audience know I really didn't know that much about it, but I was parroting what somebody else had said and was talking about it, so it worked out okay.
Simpler is better sometimes, though. I think people overcomplicate the hitting and the pitching piece of it.
I agree with that completely. I love watching, all the hitters talk, launch angle, and I'm sure you've talked to them,
There's a time and a place for all of it. There really is. And, we've talked about that a lot on the podcast, is once you get closer to competing, then a lot of that stuff needs to go away. Especially in the college season with a shorter season. I get it on the pro side. They play a lot of games, so you got a lot longer to go. But on the college side, when you don't play as many games, you need to really get centered in on going out and trying to win. And whatever your team needs to do to win that day, that's what we need to focus on. And the rest of it can wait till the off season.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, that was, a lot of times people, coaches would say, Coach, we're using, he's supposed to pitch tomorrow. Well, we got a chance to win today.
Yes.
We'll worry about
you may
tomorrow.
not get that chance tomorrow. I think that's what
That's right. It may rain. Who knows?
Like, we got a chance to win today, so we need to win today, and then we'll figure out tomorrow.
Yeah, that's, and we've discovered some guys doing that to say, well, guess what? Yeah, you're a reliever, but you're starting today, and go as long and as hard as you can, and then we'll put somebody else in. And sometimes they went a lot longer than we ever thought they could. So that was always our thing, is whatever we got to do today to get the job done, that's what we're going to do, and we're going to get after it and hopefully get the job done today.
Did you tweak your practice planning much over the years, or was it pretty consistent, or were there things you added? You talked about being a thief. Were there things you added towards the end that maybe you weren't doing in the beginning?
Yeah, we did tweak it a lot. It seems like as the more, the stretching became more and more. It used to be, we go up on the field and, okay, go play catch and let's go. And, and then as practice, we spent more time stretching and doing the flexibility type things to, and enhance different things. And, so the practice schedule did evolve. One of the things we always used to tell our kids on, the first thing at the first practice of the year, we'd take batting practice, because I'd say, I want those hitters to know just how, if it's the first thing you do in the very first practice, that tells you how important it is. And every one of those young guys is going to go back to the dorm and call Dad and say, Dad's going to say, how was practice? What did you guys do at practice? And, well, first thing we did was hit. And sometimes that probably was a hard conversation for pitchers, but the hitters sure got the message that, the offensive side of things was going to be very, very important. And, we said lots of times, we're going to play great hitters, and we'll find a place for them defense. I always felt like I could improve somebody more defensively. We'd find a way to improve their skills defensively, but hitting, you gotta be special to be a great hitter. And so we spent a lot of time there.
How much time in BP were you working situationally, or are you just letting them swing?
No, we have a round backside and, incorporate all the hit and runs and different things that way, move them up, get them in, lots and lots of adjustments. We used to do the angle hitting. That was a big thing for a few years. We'd throw at angles, and then, we'd go redo it. And it was hard sometimes, and making sure we get the left-handed hitters together and right-handed. So we got to move the platform over and all the other things that go with it. But
that's where the machines have come in. The machines have gotten so good now. That's where the machines have really helped with being able to do some of the extreme training with angles, because it's hard. It's hard on a BP guy to create that angle and throw strikes from there sometimes too. So it's gotten a lot easier with the machines now.
Yeah, the machines anymore. I mean, the technology of everything. I mean, I'm amazed anymore.
That's awesome.
I talk with my grandson a lot, and he's telling me, well, we've got this thing in the dugout and this thing in the dugout. Coaches can see, where every pitch is. And I said, I'm not sure that's legal to have that in the dugout. He said, oh, it's hidden in there. Nobody sees it. I said, well, I guess that's okay. But,
synergy.
The technology and the machines. I talked to a lot of coaches, and they say, they'll do their scouting report, and now they know if this pitcher throws 86 miles an hour, they can set their machines up pregame to throw 86 miles an hour at this spin rate, and breaking balls, and it's hard. It's hard to beat that when you're preparing kids.
I think that's why the offense has finally caught up to the pitching. just because coaches have done a better job of trying to replicate what they're going to see in games with what they're going to see in training.
Yeah, I agree. It's unbelievable anymore. The different things and the tools that they have, to see exit belows and launch angles and all of those things. It's all a great tool if you know how to use it, and if you can have the time to do it, and that's a big part of it. But coaches have got so much better, I think, at managing that time and giving the kids the very best opportunities. Like I said, I think offense is really paying off because of it.
What do you feel like you did indoor practice wise that maybe was better than some other schools?
Oh, wow. We were, for a long time, we were working out in the gym, and, we had pretty good facilities in the sense that even when we were in gym, we had different, um, three different gyms we could go into. So, we'd have pitchers in one and infielders in another and outfielders in another one. And then a separate area for our batting cages. So we could do that. So we really tried to maximize, that, and how it is at small schools. We had an hour and 45-minute block before the softball team came in or the lacrosse team or whoever. We had time where we had to share with the golfers. Luckily, the golf coach at Wooster was a former baseball player, so he'd let me sneak a little bit of his time. So, but you budget times, you got different teams coming and going, and then the last several years we had an indoor facility where the college built a field house, and that made life a lot easier. So you really had to, you can have eyes on everybody because they were all there, and we had space to do it. And, you could take a full infield instead of trying to adjust. Oh, we got to try to put first base over there in the corner so we can get close to the right distance, and made.
We used to coach pitch with the orange Kinko balls inside in the gyms with just an infield, and those things were. It was. About as good as you could get inside, but we're on a gym floor, so you can't use baseballs to hit with. So we actually use the orange Kinko balls inside.
Yeah, we used to have, God, we played games inside with, and then, when somebody hit one up in the lights and the light broke, then geez, we got to get the broom out and we got to, sweep it up and hopefully, get you have a good enough relationship with the custodians in the building. They come in and replace the lights before the AD found out. Then he'd say, what are you doing breaking out the lights in the gym? We got a basketball game tomorrow.
Do you have a fail forward moment? Do you have something you thought was going to set you back, but looking back now, it helped you move forward?
Oh God, probably losing first time and lost a national championship game. That really set us back. But I think it helped motivate us, keep us grinding, moving forward. You lose that game, and boy, that's the end of the world, and we're never going to come back from that. And it was the same way. Probably just thinking about it early in my career, I remember going for my first interview at a college, and thought it was, this is the dream school. Got to get this one, and went and interviewed and went back for a second interview and got the call, didn't get the job, and I thought, oh my God, this is the end. I'm going to be not that there's anything wrong with coaching high school, but I'm going to be a high school coach the rest of my life. I'm never going to get the opportunity to get into a college, and then the Wooster job came open, and probably better prepared the second, third time you interview, and you do get better at those things the more you do it. And
what were some adjustments you made? Because I had the same thing throughout the course of my career where I'd get turned down for jobs. What adjustments did you make? You don't get that first one. What adjustments do you make for the interview for the second one and third one?
Oh, wow. I think, I probably wasn't, as organized and as prepared as I needed to be as far as, I had a practice plan drawn up, but, then I got to the point where, okay, here's my manual and here's how we're going to do it. And this is all the aspects I think that have to go into the program. Talked about recruiting, and the first time you go, you say, well, this is, well, as you go on, you say, well, here are some of my contacts with the professional scouts and people like that who are going to help steer kids, when you're at a small school with limited resources, in the in the 80s, finding out where all the players were. And I was fortunate enough to have some outstanding contacts who I knew, from Youngstown and Connie Mack baseball. They were gonna let me know who the top prospects were in that area. And again, just being in Worcester, I mean, in 2 hours' time, we could get to Columbus, Cleveland, Toledo, Pittsburgh. We could get, there was in that radius, there were a lot of great young baseball players. And then as the college became better known, then our reach even got bigger. Then we started getting kids from all over the country to come to Worcester, and the head first camps and all those things. We started, being involved in those. So it takes a different mindset, but it's all part of the growth that goes into it.
What about you for evening or morning routines? You're in great shape still, so do you do anything in the morning or the evenings that you really like?
I've hit that golf ball a lot. I'll chase that.
That's going to be mine when I retire, be hitting a golf ball.
Yeah, I love playing golf, and we're fortunate the place we live in Worcester, or in Florida, we've got 27 holes right in my backyard, and we get up in the morning and go out, sit on the lanai and drink our coffee and eat a little fruit, and, and then I've got a golf cart sitting in my garage. I jump in a golf cart and got a group of guys I like to play golf with, and we go out and play and do that. If I'm at home chasing the grandkids, I'm either throwing batting practice to the 10-year-old or chasing balls that my granddaughter's shooting, and doing those types of things, trying to stay as active as possible. That's really, really important.
What was the best advice you got early on in coaching?
Probably just, the kids were the key, and, do everything you can to, enhance the experience for them. And that's what we tried to do, make it as, the best situation, with, Division III, sometimes your resources are limited. Some, our first several trips when I was in Wooster, we were going down trying to get vans from a car dealer, and so that we could take a spring trip. In Worcester, we had a 2-week spring trip, and trying to raise enough money so we could be gone for 2 weeks. So because we didn't have the budget to be gone, staying home. I remember going down to FIT in Florida and staying in the team room, which was basically, cots in a gym, and, trying to do that, but just trying to make it the best experience for the players. I think that was the real key. Understanding that it wasn't about me, or, it was about the players. We wanted them to enjoy it. And again, if when you recruit the right people, how bad they want to win, and they want to win as bad as I wanted to win. So that made it a good mesh.
My dad had a lot of great one-liners, but one of his favorite ones was, recruiting's like shaving. If you miss a day, you look like poop.
Yeah. Well, I got up this morning. I was ready for you this morning. It's out in Arizona. That 8:00, the 8:00 start was so 7 hours shaving this morning.
Had a baby. Did you ever get bad advice?
Yeah. Oh gosh, not really. I don't. If I did, I didn't remember it for very long.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, you move on quick. You try to sort through everything, and but there's no shortage of advice that's out there. That's for sure. But I was really fortunate. I had some great mentors. Al Van Wee was a phenomenal athletic director, basketball coach at the College of Wooster, and he's the one who hired me to go in there. And Coach was great, and I'd go into his office early, and some days he'd shake his head and say, "Pettorini, we're not doing it that way. You are not going to get away with pulling that stunt, so don't even try." But I remember going in there early, and Al would always he'd have a copy of the Wall Street Journal in there, and he'd say, "I said, Coach, he said, no, here's where you got to put that TIAA credit involved, and you got to put the maximum amount in there because." As a young coach, I'm thinking, geez, how am I going to, what we're going to do at practice? And he's telling me, no, you got to figure for 40 years down the road, you got to make sure you've got all this stuff taken care of.
That is the one thing with being full-time at the college level, though, the benefits, like the salary may not always be great, but the benefits are phenomenal, where if you can hang in there long enough, you're going to be okay on the back end for retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's,
you don't think about that in the beginning. I'm lucky my dad was really sharp with that got a hold of me, even just putting small amounts away in the beginning. But all that adds up over time. You don't see it, but I'm just lucky that my dad was good enough on that side of it. And I still pay attention to it a lot now.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable because as a young coach, that's the least of your worries.
It is. But it needs to be like you need to have somebody get a hold of you and be like, "Hey, I know it doesn't seem like it right now, but you need to put small amounts away because you're going to look up in 20, 30 years and be really happy that you did that."
Absolutely, that's that couldn't say it any better than that. You just have to do it, and getting that advice. I mean,
I did beat our office. We're competitive in the office. I did beat our office on percentage for retirement last year.
That's pretty good.
That's luck. It's dumb luck. I was lucky I switched some things over last spring.
That's why I always say Mary's smart. My wife was a financial planner for years, and that's what my young son does. He's a financial guy.
Great profession.
Yeah, it really is, and they learned well. They learned well from their mother.
That's awesome.
Both my boys, they got all their brains from their mom. That's for sure.
What does it mean to you going into the ABCA, the Hall of Fame this year?
It's it's a culmination of all the hard work, all the effort, all the time spent. That's the ABCA is just that's the gold standard. That's what been a member for over 40 years, and been to a million conventions and a lot of the Hall of Fame banquets, and sat out there. Not initially, but after you're into your career for 20, 25 years, you think, geez, those guys are, those are the guys. And you walk around that and you see those pictures of them in the hallway, and you say, geez, that's where you want to be. And, and then you learn it's not just about how many wins and losses, but what you're doing with clinics and camps and the youth camps. So all those things get factored into it. And, so not only does it make you a better coach, it makes you a better person. And, the group, I'm fortunate enough to go in
this year. It was a great group.
Yeah, it really was. And sitting up at Coach Morris was on my one side, and Coach Hall was just down from me. And it was an interesting dynamic, to say the least. And,
was it different for you this year because you were going in? Did it feel different for you?
Yeah, it did.
What was different about it?
Well, it was kind of funny. The first thing we did when we got to Dallas, and we got to the convention hall, and, I had to go back and register, and we're there, and, saw the pictures on the wall, and it was kind of funny. There was a young guy with two other older gentlemen standing there looking right at my picture. and I came up behind him, and I said, boy, is that a good looking guy up there on the wall? And the one older gentleman turned, and he said, that's you, isn't it? And I said, yeah, yeah, it is. He said, well, my son who was standing there with me, he says, he's going to be the new assistant coach at Worcester. He just got hired. I said, well, that's great. Let me introduce myself. So I introduced myself and we got to talk. And it turns out his father had coached against me years and years ago. He was down at Flagler in Florida and we played Flagler. And he says, yeah, and but again, the connections, the ties, all of that made it a little bit different, and it was a very very humbling experience to and Craig when got the I'd hoped to get that phone call for several years, but when Craig called, I was driving at the time, and you know how it is with cell phones. You get a million phone calls. I'm driving, the phone ringing. I said, I don't recognize that number. And it doesn't say it's a scam. So I think I'm going to take this call just to be safe. Who knows? It's probably Medicare or somebody calling me or to renew my auto policy or something. But it turned out to be Craig, and it was a great phone call. And I think I've been on a high since that phone call. And the banquet was super super special. We had a lot of people come back. Like I said, guys who I coached in high school were there. Lots of guys who I coached in college were there. Assistant coaches. I had an assistant coach I hadn't seen in 30 years, and he calls the coach. And I told him, I said it at the bank. I said, he's here, but I won't recognize him because it's been 30 years, and I didn't recognize him. But once I got a chance to see him, and I recognized him then, but it's unbelievably special and unbelievably humbling to be in with that group, and just knowing, you know, uh, there is some wisdom that comes with age, and you gain an appreciation for just what a great organization the ABCA really is, and all the outreach they're doing with the young kids, and all of the growth that that it's taken on over the years, and it's really really amazing. I'm super proud to be in it and to get that recognition.
Any other final shots or final thoughts or shout outs before I let you go watch baseball in the desert?
I'm going to go do that today. My youngest son was here with us at the beginning of the trip. Ohio State's out here for 10 days. My youngest son and his wife came out for the first 4 days, and then he had to go back and go to work. My older son, whose son plays for Ohio State, is coming in tonight, and he'll be here for the rest of the weekend. So we're going to get to spend time with them, and that's just a great, great time to watch baseball and spend
Well,
time
you're
with
getting some of that time back now as a grandfather. You're getting some of that time back now that you missed a little bit. So you're getting a chance to hang out at the ballpark with your kids now.
I went to the High State. It was off yesterday. They practiced. I went out to practice and watch practice because I'm a baseball junkie. Anytime I get a chance to watch practice, it's good. But I'm a really good coach sitting up there in the stands.
Of course you are.
I know when they should be pinch hitting or running or whatever, taking the pitcher out. I haven't missed one yet.
My dad and brother used to text me during our games at Western. They'd be throwing stuff at me. I'm like, you two forgot how hard it was to coach. You two been away from it for too long. You forgot how hard it is to coach.
It is really hard. It's so hard. You got so many different things pulling at you and stuff. But it's a lot better sitting up there, drinking a cold one and eating popcorn.
For sure. All right, Tim, thank you so much for your time. All right, enjoy your time down there, but it's great talking to you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Rod. Appreciate it. Take care.